All right, everybody. How are you doing? Welcome to my live. Let me try to think of one. Hi, Annie. I've just restarted. That's why. Just do a poll. So talking about like religion and stuff like that, and the seeming contradiction where God's said to be perfect, but yet His creation isn't. But then people say, "Oh, it's because of our limited perception and how we have to go through these experiences and whatever." But the question is, why? If you're a perfect God and you could create anything, why create something with the capacity to suffer in the first place? And what is that about? You know, I think deeply about things, and the more I think about it all, it just makes less and less sense. And people can be like, "Oh, well, you just haven't studied it enough." But it's like I don't really understand, because surely I could get like a good answer or something. Hello, Top Fight Security Craig. How you doing, Craig? I hope you're well. I've just got a poll on screen, so anyway, hi Chrysler George, good to see you, George. How you doing? So yeah, is God good, bad, or neutral? The way I see it is that, well, I don't know what created us, but I more see God as just universal energy, you could call it, frequencies, vibrations, whatever. It's just, there is good vibrations, there is bad vibrations in the universe. Everything's energy in some way. Energy, good and bad. So you could argue that God is good in terms of, because the word good and God, then you've got the devil and evil. Yeah. So it's kind of interesting. I don't know if is that a coincidence or what? Let's have a look at that actually and see if there's any connection there with the word God and devil and what you're saying. Not catch up his gun. What do you mean? What you're saying? God, devil. Hang on. Good, evil. The devil is a liar and God is alive. So if God is good, why allow evil to exist, is what I'm saying. If heaven, there's no evil, then why allow it on earth? So, it says God was a Christianized word that came to stand for a deity. It's difficult to know what the word meant prior to the bleaching effect of Christianity. But it's just funny how those two words sound quite similar. You got God, devil, good, evil. Good God, it's the evil devil. Balance must be maintained. This is where I start thinking about if there has to be a balance between good and evil, therefore, what is the point to life? If there has to be evil in order for there to be good, then it cancels it out, is what I was thinking. Like, if there has to be suffering in order for there to be pleasure, then is it worth it? What do you guys think? But what is the point in even coming here just to have to go through just as much suffering as positivity? I would say, well, it's only worth it if there's more positive than suffering. Like, I guess if we can try and not let evil take effect over us and only focus more on the positive. Problem is, a lot of times in, say, like with media and get the newspapers where they focus on the negative headlines, and that becomes what gets into people's consciousness, makes them more negative. So I guess we have some control over our internal state of, but it's important that we are mostly positive, otherwise it's kind of like a net negative. And then if you are mostly negative, then it's a net negative. You know what I mean? It's like, it's just kind of a thing. Anyway, honestly, I don't believe in God. Even if there was a God, why would God care about us? What does it always have to do with us? Well, why bother creating us though? You know what I mean? Why would they bother creating us? I just had to go to the toilet, so I thought I'd restart the live. Why bother creating us in the first place, just to then have us worship him and be some narcissistic kind of, you know what I mean? Like, why would they even bother of even created us? Unless it was for our benefit, but like, why would he need us anyway? Like, if he's so infinite, why would he need his creation to worship him? What's all that about? Welcome in, Faz. What's that about? Why would they need people to pray multiple times a day? Or nah. Well, if he doesn't need us, then why bother? You know, why create all the suffering? But what's the point of all that? You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't really make any sense to me. But anyway. Look, why have a creation that's just going to suffer? Considering God exists, maybe God created us as a process for something more important than us, which we can't understand. I think that could be it. But if God is infinite, then he can do whatever he wants. And why create a limited form of consciousness that requires suffering? And, you know what I mean? Hello, Mick Extreme. How you doing? Why tornadoes is such a bad argument has been developed. What you mean, why tornadoes? What are you saying? What do you mean? And about why would God create tornadoes? You look single. What do you mean I look single? How do I look single? What does that supposed to mean? How can somebody look single? I say ask AI, but tell it to answer it according to the Muslim book. Okay. But the last thing I did was, when I looked at it, I had a similar answer on that last one, saying about it being some kind of test or some bullshit. What about Christianity? Anyway, like, I don't know, just people just kind of doing seeming like mental gymnastics, it seems like to me, to try and justify why did all this crap. Who's Alex G? Who's that? In about there was somebody who was a atheist guy or something. There was somebody called Alex something, if I remember. Was it Cosmic Skeptic or something? But I hope everyone's well. What was he called? Anyway, is everybody all right tonight? Who's Alex G? I don't know who Alex G is. Hope you're all well. Gymnastics. What are you about? Gymnastics. What are you saying? Cosmic Skeptic is low tier. Well, Alex O'Connor is called. That's the one. Oh, hello. Okay. That's like, yeah, that's your opinion on that, because, well, he's an atheist and you're religious or something. I mean, like I said, I'm not fully on board with like atheism. I'm not on board with religion either. So we are spiritual beings having a human experience. But it's like, I'm thinking maybe the soul needs to have a body in order to really kind of, maybe it's about having to have some kind of, I think the whole thing of like the mind body thing, because if we were just like spirits wandering around, how are we supposed to be able to kind of process information unless we are in some kind of physical form? So maybe we do need some kind of physical form in order to have experience. Like, anyway, is everybody all right today? Hope everyone's well. Seemed a bit slow today in this live. I don't know, it's been a bit, yeah, a bit slower. I would say I'm neither. I'm just somebody who, like, I question everything. It's like, question the reality and, okay, whatever, Sean Kirk. For all I know, I could be the only person in this reality. Maybe I created the universe, who knows? Final Destination said it's selfish to have kids. Yeah, that's what people are saying about the whole kind of idea of allowing more suffering in the world. And yeah, hi Karen Garrison, good to see you again. All of us are NPCs. Well, sometimes it feels like that, you know. I don't know. I'm just like, it's one of those things. It's the physical body, and incarceration is the temple of the living God, body temple. Yeah, because it's like, what would the soul be without a body, kind of thing? It's like it has to. But then, what would the body be without consciousness? So it's this whole thing of like the mind body thing, where it's like you have to have the mind, the body, and the soul. So maybe that's like the holy trinity of life, of mind, body, soul, or whatever you call it. That you need a vehicle for, like, some call it the meat suit, for the consciousness to be able to thrive, sort of thing, if you get me. Otherwise, how could you see without having a way to transmit? The body is the transmitter of like it's, think of us as like radio, that we're receiving different frequencies. So you could see the body almost as like well, actually the mind is like the simulator sort of thing in a sense, because the color blue is what the mind creates. For example, it's P. Hilton might feel like incarceration. It can feel like that. I guess it depends. But someone last night was saying something about, we were talking about manifestation and all that, and someone saying, what about, somebody who has, like an irreversible health condition? Like, for example, my mother, she's got degenerative spine disease, and it's like, you can't just manifest your way out of that. So what I would say with manifestation is you have to be realistic with what you are trying to manifest. If you're trying to manifest something impossible, dinosaurs coming back from extinction, for example, well, good luck with that. Everyone will know it eventually. It's about the concept, not the answer. What do you mean? The concept, not the answer. Lord God couldn't save Jesus himself, his son, from his creation. What do you mean? What do you mean by that? Everything is a psyop. Says I came back since this morning. You're still on live. Yeah, I was off live actually for a while, but I guess you just assumed that I've been on this whole time. But I was off for a while. I actually had somebody come round earlier, but okay, we're not spamming the chat. Okay, you can get rid of that now. Anyway, 16 in the house, hit that like button, everybody. Share the live and subscribe if you're new. God gave us free will, but free will to impose on other people's free will. Anyway, that sounds so much like love to me. They say, oh, because God loves his creation, therefore he's given people the choice to go and torture and unalive other people. That sounds like a loving God to me. Anyway. Well, respect is owned, isn't it? If God would end all of the suffering right now, let's just see it, end of world suffering, then I'd have more respect for God. I'd be like, oh wow, he's actually put an end to it all. Then I'd be like, oh wow, okay, there is a God, and oh wow. But yeah. Why would I respect something that causes suffering? Anyway, this is a very kind of, it gets very, it's a touchy subject, isn't it, But hope everyone's well today anyway. Share this out if you can. Ghost Sunrise says, exactly, yeah. Free will, which is free when under the golden rule, otherwise there is karmic debt to pay. Free will to choose the state. So karmic debt, which is just then perpetuating more suffering. Like, some might argue about two wrongs don't make a right or something, and this whole idea of karmic debt, it almost sounds like a form of nature's revenge or something. Is that really right? Question mark. Hello, Eva. How you doing? I was about to keep scrolling. You got me with this poll this time. Okay. I'm not an atheist. What I say is that for all we know, we could be in some kind of simulation that's been created as some kind of science experiment, or just somebody else fucking around and just messing around with things. I don't fucking know. Oh, Eva's from Indonesia. Karen says, my belief is that God has given us free will, and it's that free will we can't hide behind. It is up to us to right the wrongs, clean up our messes, not God. But why create that in the first place? Why not just have eternal bliss? This is what I mean. Hello, emo. Like, why is there even a necessity to feel pain in the first place? Like, if God's perfect, he can do better than this, surely. To have people suffering with incurable diseases, for example. Hello, Satyam Bennett. How you doing? There's just a lot of unanswered questions, so yeah. Let's see about about religion and stuff. Pain is the greatest teacher, but what I'm saying is in an infinite reality, pain would not even be necessary, because what would we even need to learn anything for if everything's infinite and we can just do what we want? If we could just live however we want and there'd be infinite bliss, and there would be no such thing as a hedonic treadmill where we will get bored of doing the same thing. That only exists in a finite world where there's a need for, you know what I mean? So this is a thing of pain exists in a finite reality where we need to learn things or whatever to grow, but in a perfect world, there will be no need to grow because everything will be perfect to begin with. How else would you know not to put your hands in the fire? Well, what I'm saying is that in a reality like, let's say, a paradise, there would be no fire, there would be no suffering. It would just be a perpetual playground of just fun and games and just having good times. What's going on? Sorry to hear about that juice box. So, I think as deeply, and I'm like, what is all this for? What is the suffering for, Those Amelia, the cats. Are we being formed? Is somebody feeding off negative energy? Sometimes I feel like that could be what's happening. Hello, Philip. But that's if you believe that there is a God. Why have they, done it? Is there some kind of feeding off of the low vibrations? Hello, One Dark Rep. How you doing? Hope you're well. But what I'm saying is that in ultimate reality, empathy and wisdom already exist because there is no need to learn anything. It's just we would never get bored because we wouldn't be limited by what hormones we're producing and things like that. What I'm saying is that these things are only a case in a limited reality, which I believe that there are limits to this reality that we're in, because if it was infinite, then there would be no need to go into a finite reality. Hello, Amelia. How you doing? I don't think anyone in this world would be able to tell you why this suffering exists. Yeah. well, you were saying that God might have some higher plan, but it just goes back to the question of why. What is there a need for a higher plan? If everything can be perfect like God's perfect, therefore his creation should match that. And well, if it's not a finite reality, then as in like, why is there suffering then? Why is there scarce resources? The world is finite. There's only so many resources that we can take before we would eventually start to deplete the earth. Spirit energy from suffering. Oh, you've finished the gym. Oh, yeah, I might go later, actually. I might do it on TikTok, one.rec, because it's just with the copyright stuff. I don't really want to do it on YouTube. So I might go on there if you want to watch me over there. But yeah, don't know if you'll watch me, one.rec, but I think you follow me on there, don't you? Hi, terrific. How you doing? What you think to this, maybe life needs to be a struggle because after this life, maybe you move to better things like muscle building. You must suffer to grow. What I'm saying is if there's a God that is infinite, therefore there is no need to go through suffering because everything would already be perfect. There would be no limits like, like things such as hormonal responses and dopamine, whatever you call it, dopamine frying and all that, because it would just be constant bliss. It'd be constant pleasure and there would be no end to it. It would just be, because in an infinite reality, there is no need to have suffering, I would have thought. It's like people are thinking from a limited point of view in terms of like, because this world there is limits to this world where there's like scarcity that causes suffering. There's scarce resources. There's, yeah, true, dude. But this is why it proves God to be a bit cruel. This is what I mean, that if there is a God, does that mean that God is actually cruel? That it's like you're forced to go through some kind of, sort of struggle? What for? Does that mean that God is kind of sadistic in a way? That he feels like you have to earn your right to be in heaven or something? Because in heaven, everything's bliss, is what I'm saying. You're not limited by, and with good, you need evil. But what I'm saying is that why the constant need for evil? And that only is the case, you could argue, in a finite reality where we have the limits of nature in this reality or something. Hello, Lego, Force Ghost Yoga. How do you know if a woman is a virgin? Well, you can't really 100%, can you? Didn't like Akash thought his wife was a virgin when he met her or something, and it turned out that she'd been getting pumped by a bunch of frat boys in uni or something. Karen says, if Jesus could not avoid his suffering, why should all of us? Perhaps pain and suffering are here for a reason to teach us that there is purpose in everything. But why would we need to go through any lessons in an infinite reality where everything would just be kind of instinctual inside us? Like we'd already have the knowledge. We would already have everything inside us. I don't know. It's all perceptions. So maybe God isn't infinite then, perhaps, and God can't. Is what I'm thinking is, can he not? Maybe God can't intervene. Or maybe he doesn't want to. There's this whole argument of whether God is personal or impersonal. People giving God like human-like characteristics and stuff, and anyway, what do you mean? Why would you have everything inbuilt? Well, I'm talking about in a hypothetical reality where God would create his creation perfect in his own image. Okay, yes. So if he created us all in his image, then it made us all perfect like him. But then, to me, suffering is not perfection. Suffering is you could say, in a finite reality where we are not invincible, that our bodies are fragile. Like if we were immortal and non-fragile, then there would be no need to be, afraid of falling from heights. Like if we fall, say 20, 30 feet, then there's a risk that we could get seriously injured or die. Okay, Harsh. I mean, hello, Davtro. How you doing? Hope you're well. Suffering is like gaining XP in this RPG game that is called life, where certain XP gain leads to knowledge. What I'm saying is that we wouldn't need knowledge in a infinite reality, that we would just kind of, everything we would just kind of learn as we go, and we just kind of, imagine we're just kind of floating and we just kind of do what we want. We're not bound by the laws of physics in this world, like gravity, for example, where if we jump off a high platform and then we get injured if we fall to the bottom. And basically, it's just a lot of us can't even imagine, it seems like, a reality without the constraints that we're in now, because it's kind of abstract. And but I'm thinking in terms of, if I was a all-loving creator, and I would want everybody to experience eternal bliss, no need for any suffering, and because why would there need to be suffering? So is what I'm saying. So, and people can go on about, oh, it's a lesson, but why is there a need for any of that? Because this is something that someone was telling me as well. So something I resonated with somebody else, what someone else was saying, that, in fact, I might even see if I can find his message on this and see what you guys think, because there was like a direct message that he sent me about this a while ago. If I can find it, I'll see if I can find the message where he said it. So it was a while ago, but I'll try and see if I can find it and see what you think about this. There's quite a while back, so it was quite a deep message that he was saying there. So let me see if I can find it. So yeah, let's have a look. It was a while ago, so let me just go through this. So he was actually believing in demonic forces and stuff like that, and saying this whole feel-good new age stuff, how to grow your human persona is made to keep people content with suffering. Starving children don't learn anything from their situation. Humans don't get to act the way they do, then have the cheek to turn around and say they are all growing. We equate being a cog in the system with growth or relationship drama, where if it truly the case, if truly the case, where is it? Were it truly the case, humanity's values would be better, but our values are evil. And for a society so obsessed with growth, it's ironic. To us, is growth about money? Your body count with a woman? We've been cosmically duped, man. If that world out there is what we call growth, and evolving, then it's a fucked up perception of what that means. Only humans could care about work more than anything and think that's evolving and growth. We aren't the most bright race in the universe. We have everything backwards. If reincarnation is a thing, I'm going somewhere where none of your weird values exist, where we aren't told we are a project. We are told we are a project to be worked on. Here, existence is about just vibing, where you do what you want without it getting boring. Where you can be free and no, you must. The purpose of life is etc. A place where no one's considered more or less anything than any other soul. What's the matrix? It puts it well, but pay attention to it. It's based on what might actually be the truth of all this. Anyway, so that was most of what he said about that, and yeah. So what do you guys think then? So this is what I was meaning about the whole thing of, if there's reincarnation, I would rather go into a world where none of this exists, all this suffering and all that kind of thing. Yeah, like, why does any of this need to exist in the first place? Like, why don't we just have eternal happiness and all that? And like, it just makes me kind of like think like, what is this all about? What is the whole point to it all? Like, it just, the more you think about it, the more you think like, it's like, okay, let me just see if there's any more. So there's some more things that he said as well, like, yeah, he says about conclusions that he's grown about the New Age. He talks about the prison planet theory, and saying about basically that he's on the fence with the possibility that Christianity, the world of ever evolving wise souls, spirituality books talk about, doesn't match the world full of mind-child narcissists who only care about power. We see. So yeah. Spirituality says suffering teaches us, but suffering shouldn't even be a thing and wouldn't be without some spiritual evil manipulating things from behind the scenes. And yes, it says, he mentioned something about David Icke. Well, I think some of the stuff that David Icke said is probably decent, but he does say some weird things as well. Unknown, what will you do if you are made king of UK? Good question. Can you suggest me a solution for my problem? Okay. Okay, let's get rid of that. So basically, saying about such emotion doesn't exist in those realities. This is what I mean, like when you've got all this suffering and all that, no seriousness, it's just all fun. I'm 30 years old, that in a ideal reality that there is no need to learn anything. There's no need to grow because we're already the alpha and the omega. We are already the it, the everything. This is if there is, an all-loving creator who created everything. And it's just, the more I think about it all, it just never makes any sense to me. The body's so fragile, it's like we can die after 3 minutes without breathing or something like that, right? Like, the body is a very fragile thing. Like, if you get, punched even in the wrong spot hard enough, like, that can be it, fatal. Look what happened to Houdini, you know what I mean? Like, our creation is far from perfect. Far, far, far from perfect. But it's like I don't understand why you wouldn't think that God is corrupt if he exists. You know? Hello, King. Skateboarding. What do you mean? The body is quite fragile. What's skateboarding got to do with anything? You know what I mean? I did bits of skateboarding when I was a kid. It's like, why do we need to have like carnivorous animals, for example, animals that need to kill other animals to survive? You know what I mean? Oh, grabber, what's all that necessary for? I don't get it. Like, why have all that? But then it's like, you're saying he can't intervene, but why not? Like, he's God, right? He's infinitely powerful, supposedly. So therefore, he could, if he wanted to. But why even create suffering in the first place? Like, if it's to stop us from getting into dangerous situations, why doesn't God just kind of, instead of making it painful, that you just have some kind of warning sign or something that tells you to not do something? Am I Ukrainian? No. Hello, Baran. Meow. 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 Huh. Anyway. Okay. So anyway, hope you're all well tonight, people. Share the live out if you can, please. That would be really appreciated. Whatever, if I want to do that, then I'll do that. If I went to meow, then I'll meow. It's called autonomy. Woke up from a nap and you're still on, yeah. Okay, welcome back. Okay, really? What about my nails? I'm 30 years old. Oh goodness. This chat is just like... Hello, S9367. Lower and high dimension differences at play, I guess. That's what you're saying. Well, while talking about frequencies, I see it more as frequencies, like frequencies of good forces, bad forces, but I don't see it as a personal God. I see it just as more universal energies rather than some kind of mystical being with sentience that it has human-like qualities. Think of the word good and evil is like the word God and devil. It's kind of interesting how those kind of synchronize, whether it's a coincidence or not, but it's interesting, isn't it? It's like there's this kind of polar forces in the world. We have to try to tune into the more positive frequencies and not let the negative stuff try to get to us. But hello, the addiction kitchen. What do you mean all is one? What do you mean by that? I'm sure you were a cat in a previous life, lol. I don't know. I like to just do different sounds. I do Donald Trump impressions. Maybe I was Donald Trump in a previous life. Because time is an illusion. Because what's happening right now in my life, someone else is experiencing right now, but maybe that was me. Maybe I was. Oh, well, thank you, Jackie Moon. You're so nice. You're such a tremendous person. So wonderful to see you all, you fantastic people. No matter how bad life treats me, I will never turn my faith into darkness, even if I feel bad for a while. That's human emotion. I know the Lord won't hate me. Well, if that's what you want to believe. I love edibles. Schmagnum opus. Who tell her who to be quiet? Who are you telling to be quiet? Oh goodness. American edibles. They're very good for I only take American edibles. They're great for the economy. Good, bad, up, down, back, forth, side to side is all part of the same thing. There's equal amounts of them all. We are just programmed to the negative proportion of life. Yeah, what we're saying about tuning into the positive, it's all about really tuning into the right frequencies. This is what they talk about with manifestation. If you want to manifest positivity into your life, then you have to tune into that frequency. It's like we're radio receiver, so like, or whatever. Like we can. Hello, Sartha Kagupta. He loves everyone equally. I don't go to church and I don't read scripture yet. Oh, thank you, Schmagnum. Oh, really? Oh, thank you for the $2 Canadian. $2 Canadian is not as great as American dollars, but I will take that because I love money and I think money is great. I think it's very tremendous. Thank you for your kind donation. I don't read scripture yet, but I know he's real. I've read enough evidence dark realms and energies exist. Why not the opposite? Yeah, I mean, you could talk about energies, but in terms of like these being actual sentient things, I don't really sort of buy into that, really. I see it as more as just like, you know, if you look at like what Tesla's said about the universe and how he understands the universe, I kind of lean more into that. Hello, Aravind. I'm from the UK. Where are you from? Nice to meet you. No, that's totally reasonable. I respect that, Brother Ten, what you're saying. Who are you talking to there? Yeah, we're programmed to only tune into the negative side of things, so it's hard to see or believe there is a positive side to everything. Yeah. I think the media does that a lot, doesn't it? Oh, thank you, Virus Mike. Oh, here we go. Two euros. Oh, thank you very much. God is an illusion. Someone said that they think that consciousness is an illusion, or they're asking me, saying that, how do I know that consciousness isn't an illusion? What do you guys think about that? Could consciousness be an illusion? What does that even mean? Asian, how's it going? Bro, you look like you came out of the movie 300 Spot, really. Oh, I don't know that one. Well, how did they say that then, LMAO? Sorry? What are you talking about? So I'm talking about like with the media and how they push negative stories, and then that makes you think that the world is negative and bitter, but what happens is then the vibration goes down, people become more resentful, more cynical. Then, you know, when you go out and about and you see cynicism everywhere, bitterness. So it kind of, it's like a mind virus, you could say. The media is like a virus in a sense that it infects people's minds, and it even spreads to other people, because then that bitter, low energy, then people then start to feed on that. Not feed on it, I mean, they start to kind of take on that energy. So can you help me for coming to your country? What do you mean? You find what you look for in this world. Yeah, it's like if you're looking for faces in clouds, your subconscious mind, it registers, not registers, I mean, that thought, it then sort of like is looking for that subconsciously. So a lot of it's down to your subconscious programming and sort of, like, for example, if you're thinking about money, you're more likely to see money on the floor or something because it's like the confirmation bias thing. It's like, for example, if you've got a yellow car, for example, you're going to start seeing them everywhere. I remember there was one where we were looking for Land Rovers and Range Rovers. I guess we were just kind of bored just walking down a long road. And we just started seeing Land Rovers and Range Rovers everywhere. They seemed to be everywhere. It seemed like everybody had one. It was like, whoa, they're everywhere. It's to do with the brain. It's like it does show that that how our brains are powerful and how if we tune into the right things, then we can start seeing more. We can start seeing opportunities. If, for example, but also we put out a certain energy if we're more positive as well, which can then attract more positive people and just attract more opportunities in life because you're just gonna put out that vibration that someone will connect with that, and it's things that happen on a subconscious level. So Hunter Bacon, bottle of water, you happy now? Anyway, hope you've all had a wonderful day, everybody. We are the Light Bulb Up Butts organization. Oh goodness, there's plenty of ex-Satanist videos who are now Christian, ones that actually witness human sacrifice, and it does explain a lot and reaffirm my faith. Oh really? I mean, I've heard about people saying stuff about, like coming to Christ and all that, and I don't know, it's just I have my own interpretations of religion and spirituality and things. It's just I don't subscribe to the Abrahamic version of it. I would say, if anything, I would be more along the lines of Gnostic, if you will. Hello, core sophisticated. No, I'm not. So the source of consciousness might be akin to God. It's not exactly how humans experience it. Possibly. Am I a believer? No, I'm kind of just someone who would say that God isn't what people necessarily think it is. Let's just say, what is Gnosticism again? Gnostic. Let's see. Just to make sure I'm getting it right. So, okay, let's just get rid of the nonsense. What did I have for lunch? I just had some I had some chocolate oatmeal thing. I used cocoa powder and it's porridge. It's like just porridge basically, but yeah, like a chocolatey flavored one. So basically talking about emphasizing gnosis, esoteric personal knowledge over institutional faith for salvation. Gnostics believed the material world was an evil or flawed creation by a lesser entity, the demiurge. I mean, I don't know if I believe in all that, but like I said, I'm open-minded, and I question whether this world is created by some kind of, like whoever's created it is actually some kind of evil person or something. This is what I've been kind of thinking, but I don't know. I don't really want to kind of say like exactly what created us and for what reason. Basically, that it sometimes I feel like this world was created by something evil, that God might actually be the devil. That's what I've been thinking at times. Hello, Jubes. Oh, really? What do you mean you just died? So saying about salvation involves liberating the divine spark within humanity from material imprisonment through divine revelation. So the whole thing of salvation, does that mean about is like a self kind of like saving yourself, basically? This is what I was saying about, I don't believe anybody's coming to save you. I believe that you've got to save yourself, you know? You have to save yourself if you're in some kind of, you have to just kind of, to me, even praying is almost like, I see, the way I see it is that there might be some power to prayer. It's more in terms of maybe it's like you have a faith in something, and like, whether it's God or just whether it's the universe, that there might be some benefit to that in terms of that you're more likely to succeed with what it is you're trying to do, just because you have faith. When you don't have faith, it subconsciously can like affect you, and like if you believe that you're going to win a race, for example, then you're more likely to. I think they've found that the power of positive thinking. So maybe a prayer is just a way of focusing your intent or something. And hello, Bryce. Yeah, I'm on Insta. Why? Moondust says, dissolve your ego and you will see all is God. Well, I started to feel like maybe we are all a part of God. Well, they do say the kingdom of heaven is within. But the word God and evil, or God, I mean good and evil, God and devil, what do you think? I pray every night before I go to sleep, but I've done that since I was a little girl. That was my mom's side of the family were very religious. Right. Hi, Jen. God's moral law is written on our hearts. That is how we inherently know the difference between good and evil. But how do I know it's not just kind of something that we have just built into as like a moral compass or something that, like most of us have that. There are psychopaths in the world who naturally just don't have any kind of moral compass. They don't have remorse, empathy, or anything like that. They just, it must be crazy to be like that, really. But to be somebody who has absolutely no empathy whatsoever and doesn't think anything about just unaliving somebody and has no remorse for it whatsoever. So anyway, hope you're all doing well. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for the 17 likes. Hitting that like button. You can be trained to be like that. Trained to be what? You mean you're on about psychopaths or empathetic or more educated means less religious? Yeah, psychopaths. Well, somebody have said that it's the whole nature versus nature debate, isn't it, really? Hello, Gertel10. Oh, really? Your super tuner, the one that told you push-ups for money. Oh, yeah. All right. So why have you changed your name then? Why are you now called Gertel? Anyway, have a nice rest of the day. Okay, thank you. Hello, Hashim. How you doing? Hope you're well. Good evening to you all. What you all been up to today? Thank you for joining me. Do you ever look in? No, what the hell? Why have you got a different account then? Anyway, whatever. But yeah, double tap your screens. Let's get 20 likes real quick. We're about 17 in here. Cool. So yeah, say hello if you're still watching, guys. Yeah, not seen anything of Susie Q for a couple of days, but hopefully she's not been put off the chat with all the trolls and stuff. Hello, Julie, and good to see you. How you doing? But hopefully not too many people are getting put off. It's just sometimes they can get a bit annoying, but you just got to learn to ignore it and just not really, you know what I mean? Like, we shouldn't be letting that bother us. Dysentery says, do you know who music? No, I don't know who that is. Business Martin is. Who's that? What is your world record? I don't have a world record. What the hell? I don't have any world records. But the thing is, you could come up with something quite obscure and get into the Guinness Book of Records. So that's one way that if you could find some record that's never been done, like you could say the most amount of such a thing, but no one's ever tried to attempt it. So that could be a way to get yourself in the Guinness Book of Records. I hope you're all well anyway, people. It's nice to meet you all as always. But anyway, so what do you guys want to talk about then? Yeah, just for the title, no passion, lol. What do you mean, just for the title, no passion? Are you talking about me? Where they lose morals and corrupted by greed, so makes sense. The more educated, the less faithful. Yeah, this is what I mean when you understand about, like about nature and how brutal nature can be. It's like, but I think sometimes it's just that people are in kind of ignorance or whatever. Not ignorance, but they're just. It seems like some people just want to bury their head in the sand and just pretend this world is beautiful, and it can be at times, but it can also be very brutal. Like I said, animals unaliving other animals just to survive. Like that's their instincts to survive. Like you've literally got I saw a video where I think it was lions were pouncing on the back of a giraffe to take it down. So like the giraffe had no chance, and they just had all these lions all pouncing on it, and just it's just such a cruel nature. Sometimes it's just survival. Every animal wants to survive, and they would need food. So it's like, to me, it's like in a perfect world, we wouldn't need constant sustenance. We would have, you would probably be able to recycle energy through your body. It's how I would think of it. Anyway, can we just not do that, Sadie? You know what I mean? It's just no need for snarky comments, is there? I mean, the hell. Anyway, Dante explains a lot in Paradise Lost and Faust. What do you mean? Can you explain more about that? Yeah, let's get this shared out if you can. Subscribe if you're new here. You're welcome, Julianne. We're just, don't want to be putting up with any nonsense here, Raven, hello, how you doing? I don't support any football team. Has everybody had a good day then? Hope everyone's well. Fred's, no, I'm not religious myself. I try to keep an open mind, and I'm just considering different possibilities, and yeah. But I watch a channel who he's into a thing called A Course in Miracles, where it talks about the ego and how the ego it doesn't exist or something. And I don't know whether I fully agree with a lot of the stuff in it, but it talks about things like the ego is an illusion or something like that. But in the definition that I've seen on ego, it's about someone's perception of self or something like that. Someone's perception of what is it, like self-worth and importance. Now you could say it doesn't exist because you could say, well, it doesn't have any basis in reality because it's something that you've made up in your own head. So you could argue in that sense, it's like, well, are people base their importance on? Something. Now, who the heck is this guy? I'm Jamie. Who are you? Water. Yeah, you like it when I say water. Anyway. Cool, near me. All right, you're near each other then, Annie and Julian. No, Walter, not Walter. Hello, Snehini. I'm Jamie. Welcome in. How you doing tonight? Hope you've all had a good day. So, yeah, we're all right, people. No, possible. Just stumbled upon weird, unfortunate realms, but in that case, there's only seeking of elsewise law. What do you mean? Are we talking about God? Yeah, we're talking about morality and things like that. And if God is this loving being, then why create this kind of shit that we have now? Why create this world that's full of limitation and football from Bissau and UK? Okay, whatever. Yeah, I don't like football. I have no interest in football. Yeah, I feel like it's very overrated, to be honest with you, but that's my opinion. I was in a debate last night about whether modern music's shit. And I think there's can be some good stuff, but like, yeah, Mohammed Haran. But I just feel like a lot of it's just kind of quite sort of cringy, or it's just got bad messages put in it and stuff. But anyway, is everyone okay? Do I like football? Not really. I'm not really into sports. Like, it seems like people assume because I'm a guy that I'm into sports. I'm more into, like, I guess more performing arts and things like that. Things like comedy, music, things like that. I enjoy things like that. But I also like fitness. Do you like gymnastics? Oh yeah. What's your most impressive kind of skill that you've learned in gymnastics? Bulgarian flamingo. Water bottle. Yeah, what's the most impressive feat of, yeah, do I sing? Yes, I do. I'm not doing it now, though. What's the most impressive feat that you've learned in gymnastics? Yeah, I would struggle with that at my height. But I can do some calisthenic stuff like pull-ups and dips and things like that. The thing with gymnastics, they oftentimes use quite unstable exercises, like with gymnastic rings and stuff like that. Like I can do some of like the basic stuff like pelican curls and stuff like that. Like watching it, I can't. Or you can't do it, or you just like, or you don't. I thought you meant you actually do gymnastics, as in like that you do some like. I've seen people doing some crazy gymnastics stuff like the iron cross or like the planche and stuff like that. You know, which takes a lot of strength and coordination to do. I don't know. People pee when they're doing gymnastics. I've heard that some people actually piss themselves during a heavy squat or something. Because I remember hearing that some women actually, there's a thing called stress urinary incontinence. Stress urinary incontinence. So that means that they uncontrollably pee themselves during really heavy exercises or something. Hello, Colton. Okay. Hello. Yeah, is everybody all right tonight then? Hope you've all had a good day. Share this out if you can. Subscribe if you're new. Thank you for the 21 likes. Anyway, Jerry is good at lies. He's unbiased and open to discussion on all subjects. Doesn't judge and is friendly to his people. Yeah, I try to. Obviously, sometimes I have my opinions, and I'm not afraid to share that. But I try to agree to disagree if somebody. It's like the other day, like someone was, you know, talking about pop music, and if you like the modern pop music, okay, you know, then I'm not gonna try and say that, you don't have a right to believe that. We all have a right to have our own opinion, even if I disagree. Like, I'm not some kind of like fascist or whatever who's going to force everyone to agree with my opinion. I don't like that. It's like being a libertarian. You have to be able to respect everybody else's opinions on things, and like be someone who is open-minded and not just be a authoritarian and be like, oh, you say this, therefore you're oh, we can't be friends or whatever. It's like that some people get very petty with things, don't they? And fascist is quite a low bar, just saying no hate. I mean, what I'm saying is when people can't disagree, then to me that is kind of like fascism, you could argue, in a sense of like, I mean, let's look at the definition of like the word. I mean, let's just see what it actually means. So, but talk about an authoritarian / dictatorial leader. So this is what I mean. It's kind of, maybe it's not a literal fascist, but in terms of like, as in when somebody's trying to force their opinion on somebody, they're talking about an authoritarian style of person who, like, if they were a person to get in power, they probably would be a fascist dictator. But if somebody isn't open to having other people of their own points of view, then yeah. People who call people fascists are stupid. But what I'm saying is that that it's like, yeah, you could argue that it's not a literal fascist, but it's just, I mean, it's just the best word that I could think of that kind of describes that kind of but you're able to have your own opinion on that. Asha. But I could argue that the same thing about when people call somebody an anti-Semite because they are not Zionists or something, they're against Zionism. Does that make somebody an anti-Semite because they're against Zionism, for example? Because you could argue that that is a misuse of the word anti-Semitic. Because what does Semitic actually mean? So the thing is that oftentimes people will misuse certain words. But if we look at the word fascism, it's it's just kind of like suppression of dissent. So it's kind of like some people would actually be like that if they got in power, I would say. If you can't handle that someone's got a different opinion to you, then you might as well just be a fascist, is what I'm saying. Like, if you can't handle that somebody disagrees, it's like we had someone in the chat the other week, because they disagree with somebody else's, hello, Tizer, because they disagreed with somebody else's views on immigration, for example, therefore they spat the dummy out and called that person a clown. Is that really what we're going to do now? Is that if we disagree with somebody, we're going to have such emotional immaturity to I would say that the person who can't agree, that spit out the dummy, is the snowflake. Oftentimes the people who call others snowflakes are the ones that are actually snowflakes because they can't handle that somebody's got a different view to them. So oftentimes I find that they can be hypocrites. If you can't handle that someone's got a different view to you, and you think that your view has to be heard to everybody, and their view is not relevant, then you're just somebody who feels so important that you're right, your view is right, and everyone else's is just, you know what I mean? Hello, hello, Otto Rotto. Yeah, I know. I think they're all just trying to just, you know what I mean? What you on about? But it feels like some people here are just trying to. I don't know what you were saying earlier, but there's some people who are trying to just antagonize. Like, we can agree to disagree. It's when people are trying to push their opinion is where I draw the line. Hello, Mohit. So, what was you saying? I don't even remember, but it's that I have probably had a reason to time you out if maybe you crossed a line where you was trying to kind of push your opinion and anyway, so hope everyone's well tonight anyway. What you all been up to today? Okay. What's a whole bunch of nothing? Pizza or pasta? Pasta. Can we just not like talk about that stuff in here? So like this is not the place for that, is it, you know? So I gotta be careful with like the channel and stuff, you know? Like when people start kind of singling out certain groups of people and stuff like that. Okay, Guin, Goo. He says my IQ test results came back. They were negative. I thought it was positive. Why did you think they were positive? What do you mean? The topic, earlier we were talking about God and religion and other things. What was I discussing? But I don't remember what was you actually saying though that got you timed out. What was I saying? You must remember what you were saying. I probably had a reason to time you out if you was being unreasonable and you was just like, I don't time people out for just having a different opinion if you're respectful about it. Okay, Tolliver Mason. I don't know. How far ago was that? Well, if I time you out, then it must have been on a different live. So, yeah. So it won't be on this live then. Okay, Smeyer I'm British. Hello, Rolf. How you doing? I don't know. Can we just forget about that now anyway? It's distracting. Anyway, I don't know. It must have been an earlier stream, but I don't know. I'm not going to look all the way back up. Hello, Marcus. How's it going? Jimny Cricket, hello. What you on about? Well, yeah, because in the UK, they can just, like, arrest you for a tweet or something. Mud blood. Sounds like mud flood, that crazy conspiracy theory shit, but yeah. Is everybody all right tonight then? Yoon says, what you on about? What the hell's going on here? If anyone's new here, make sure you subscribe. That would be really appreciated. What's that? If God exists and created all, then he is responsible for all the evils. That's what I meant. Like, he's responsible for all of his creation. So if someone causes evil, then therefore is he not responsible to put an end to it? It's like, for example, if I see somebody about to unalive somebody, it's my responsibility to go and stop them, you know? So does that not make God just as bad? What's your favourite food? I quite like Indian food, guy in the green hat. I don't know. What about French? I don't know. Hello, Lee Partridge. How you doing? Hope you're well. Star says God is aware of everything and he's non-judgmental, I guess. But does that not? But then people say that God is judgmental because he condemns sinners to hell. So why create sin in the first place if he's going to condemn them to hell? Like why create the ability to sin to then create? Some people believe that they're going into eternal suffering. Yeah, you don't believe in God. Okay, that's fine. I mean, we all believe in different things here. It's just I'm more here just to have a philosophical discussion. Hello, Nostradamus. I've watched a couple of Harry Potter films. Have you? Hope you're all well, people. Hit that like button. I'm Dumbledore. You mean Dumbledore? It's called Dumbledore. That's what you mean. Bad argument for me because it means Elon Musk is bad if his robot killed someone. I mean, but that's Elon Musk. He's somebody that's not omniscient, though, is he? But God is omniscient, so therefore he knows everything that could happen, but chooses not to stop it. That's the difference. I think your argument is probably bad, in my opinion, if you're trying to compare Elon Musk to God. Like, I mean, if Elon Musk has made something happen by accident because of his robot killing somebody, is different to somebody intentionally unaliving somebody. I don't know how you can really equate those two things. I am anti-Bess a lot in school under press. No, I wish I was never on depressed. I am the breast today. She showed me what butterfly the bear. What you on about? Star says, aren't our resistance to what reality is create suffering? Yeah, I can see that. But then what is the meaning of being free? Well, I would say that in a higher world, that if in a more abundant world, there is no such thing as suffering and lack, and therefore there is no wrong that you can ever do, because like you can't hurt somebody if they can't feel pain. There would be no such thing as pain. There would be no such thing as danger. Oh, Bevy love. No, I don't have one. Star Boy the Night. Okay. It's like people can't seem to conceive that if there was a God, maybe he would have made a much better world than this, with different laws of physics. Different. There wouldn't be gravity, for example. We would be floating in with just abundance of everything. There would be. We wouldn't need constant food to survive. There would be none of the problems that we have in society. So this is why I do not believe in the, one of the reasons why I don't believe in the Abrahamic God. This is what I mean. There'd just be angels floating in heaven and just kind of, everything would be divine. Because if we're made in God's image and we're perfect like God, then it's just like just seems personally unreasonable to think that God would create us this way. It seems like people aren't willing to accept that maybe if there is a God, that he isn't really that good of a person. Oh, I look like Zelensky. I've had that before. Dustin Weaver says, "Well, he made us people so we can have a life." Well, what life though? Okay, 7 Ray 8H. Garden of Eden. You mean? Hey, Mohit. I'm not too sure about Friedrich Nietzsche. I'll have to look more into that, but I have heard of him. What do you know about Friedrich Nietzsche? There was like a philosopher, so so what life about? We're here to just kind of like talk about all kinds of different subjects. A lot of it could be around politics, religion, philosophy, science, history, all sorts of topics, as well as personal development and growth. And yeah. Anyway, Isaac Newton himself was religious. The same man who discovered gravity. But why would God create gravity? Gravity is a very, can be a very, nasty thing at times. So let's just, was Isaac Newton religious? See. But this was back, hundreds of years ago. It seems like most of the new scientists are not religious. As time goes on, a lot of scientific people becoming less and less religious. Aquatic Neil says, can you watch some veins expand in your hand, please? Why? What do you mean? The hell? It's like there was it says believing that Jesus was the Son of God, but not co-equal with the Father. He hid these views to avoid being considered a heretic and to keep his position at Cambridge. So religion was still quite a big thing back, all those years ago. Theology is central. He wrote more on theology, prophecy, specifically the book of Daniel and Revelation and the Temple of Solomon, than on physics or mathematics. Masterful creator. He believed the order of the universe was evidence of a divine intelligent designer. So yes, I mean, hello, expat. I'm not saying there isn't some kind of like forces in the universe. Like, look at what Einstein believed. Einstein gods. Let's see. So it says about believed in a God of cosmic order and natural law, similar to Spinoza's God, not a personal intervening deity. Famously stating, I believe in Spinoza's God and that the word God is a human expression of weakness for personal deities. He saw God as the rational, beautiful structure of the universe, finding a cosmic religious feeling in understanding nature's harmony, but rejected the idea of a God who plays dice with human fates, viewing traditional religious concepts as naive. So this was Einstein, which came after, and they used to believe in is Spinoza God. Let's have a look at this on Spinoza's God. So his point was there isn't many scientists today who believe in God. That just isn't the case. I mean, well, there's less and less that actually believe in a religious Christianity type of God. Like you look at a lot of the modern ones, they're just kind of, a lot of them rejecting religion, as religion, it used to be quite a sort of forced upon society, Like you were forced to be, like at one time it was illegal to be gay and things like that, and you had to obey the religions and stuff like that, and like didn't they used to like stone gay people and things like that? I mean, so let's see. So the single, infinite, and self-caused substance that constitutes the entire universe. Spinoza rejected a personal, transcendent creator in favor of pantheism, arguing that everything, including humans, exists as molds or expressions within God. This God is rational, immutable, and operates through strict natural laws. Well, that doesn't sound anything like Christianity or anything like that. So these are key aspects of it: the single substance, pantheism and nature, no free will or purpose, infinite attributes, and determinism. So in like Christianity, they believe in free will and stuff like that. Like they, or well, most of them do at least anyway. That Mohit says God equals Mother Nature. Francis Collins, who led the Human Genome Project, is Christian. John Pilkin is. I mean, what percentage of scientists now are actually religious? Let's have a look. What percentage believe in God? It says roughly 1/3 to half believe in God or higher power, with younger scientists generally showing higher belief rates, though scientists remain less religious than the general public, with significant numbers identifying as atheists or agnostics. A 2009 Pew Research Center survey found 51% of US scientists believed in a God or a higher power, while other studies suggest that it could range from 10 to 30% or more depending on the specific group. So they found that there's less scientists than the overall population, which suggests that as you become more, like someone said this before, as people become more knowledgeable, their likelihood of being religious becomes less. So you would think that as you look more into science, they would actually become more religious if there was such a thing as God, that if they would find more and more evidence of a creator. Why don't they become like more and more religious as they become more and more researched in science, if science proves God? So yeah, what are you saying, top fight? What you mean? Depends on the science. I mean, but they're saying in general, seem to be less religious people than the general population, according to this. Somewhere between 1/3 and 1/2, whereas, yeah. Let's see about what is that? They go to join agnostic and become Christian as they go along, possibly. Agnostic means without knowledge. Well, I would argue that everybody's agnostic because they don't have knowledge, but they're just kind of acting like they're yeah, hello Gagan. Oh yeah, I can do a magic trick, yeah. In science you need to be agnostic if you don't have all information. We do not have all the information. Yeah, that's the thing, is that agnostic would arguably be the the honest position in science. But Gnostics have knowledge, but the thing is that is it really kind of like, what knowledge is it though? Because you can't necessarily base it off books. So yeah, the whole Gnostic thing is like, again, it's more faith. So it's like, is it really I don't know. Let's have a look and see. So is there a trend, what's the general trend with scientists? Are they becoming more religious or less religious over time? How can you know if someone's smart? What do you mean? What would you say? I mean, people could talk about IQ tests, but they're not always reliable as a marker. No, I'm straight. The smartest man in the world believes in God. Well, I think someone actually debunked him or something, and I saw something about that. There was people actually refuting him. I haven't looked too much into that, but apparently someone was actually refuting him, saying that he's the dumbest, smartest guy or something like that. But I don't know. It's just yeah. I haven't looked too much into that guy of like what his arguments are, and I just remember there was some video on some like skeptic channel where they were like saying that it was the dumbest, smartest guy or something. They called him knowledge, but like knowledge of what though? I mean, if they're claiming to have knowledge of some kind of deity, then where's that knowledge from? If it's from a book, then I wouldn't really say that's knowledge. That's just hearsay kind of thing. Because someone could put a Harry Potter book, leave a Harry Potter book, and then in 1,000 years' time, someone could pick that up and then look at it and be like, "Oh, it does these magic tricks. It could be a god." I don't know. Like, how can you tell? I meant tell what? What were you saying? Hello, Brando. What is it going on with these comments? How can you tell? I suppose. So what you're saying that this guy that's the smartest guy in the world, is he really that smart? Because IQ's not always a perfect way to tell if someone's smart, because he might have some irrational ideas. Doesn't mean just because you have a high IQ doesn't mean that you know everything and that you're not able to be fooled by anything. Fancy day. Well, that's what some people say, but also some people say that Jesus is God. So which one is it? Because there's a lot of contradictions. There's people that think that Jesus is God. In some religions, like is the Son of God and God at the same time or something. I mean, try and figure that one out. Okay, well, I'm going to get rid of the spammy comments. You know, if people are going to spam the chat, then I'm going to get rid of it. Hello, Cyclone Edits. What you mean? Any context? We've just been talking about religion and trying to get into the kind of, some of the potential contradictions of things. There is no God. Well, that's the question is about what is God? Because to say there's no God, but we have to define what God is first. Because there's different versions, like in Einstein, where he says it was an impersonal God, like a Spinoza God, a God that cannot intervene or anything, if you get me. Does that make any sense? Is it a God that can't intervene because they don't have that quality to them? Welcome back, Germany. I mean, eating dog, I mean, this is where it comes down to, like, this is where, like, the whole vegetarian, vegan argument, where it's like, if you aren't okay with people eating dog, then why is it okay to eat pig, for example? You know what I mean? It's like, what makes a dog so different that it's okay to eat a pig but not a dog? In fact, let's see, like, how intelligent is a pig in comparison to a dog? Let's have a look at that, shall we? Let's have a look. So So it says, pigs are generally considered more intelligent than dogs in problem-solving, memory, and cognitive flexibility, often outperforming dogs in complex tasks, though dogs excel at reading human social cues due to selective breeding. While dogs have higher emotional quotient for relating to humans, pigs demonstrate sophisticated understanding like recognizing their reflection and using tools, showing intelligence comparable to exceeding primates in some aspects. So dogs attack humans more than any other animal. Is that true? Rumble says dog is a man's best friend. Well, in some instances. Depends. I suppose like if you look after your dog well, then yeah, then they should be good. Some say like it's like with these pit bulls, it's not the pit bull's fault, it's the owner if they mistreat them. So yeah, they can either be your best friend or your worst nightmare. So that's where karma could be, observed. But you could say, is it because dogs have higher emotional quotient? Does that mean that it's okay to eat pigs because they have less emotional quotient? Dogs have dogs have a higher emotional quotient, therefore it's not okay to eat dogs or something. Is that the argument? It's a kind of funny one. That's the whole thing of like relatability to humans. Is that why people feel like it's okay to eat pigs because they can't relate to them? It's like, well, just because you can't relate to an animal, does that mean that you should eat them, sort of thing? That's the question. But anyway. Well, I think if people are coming in illegally, they should probably be gotten rid. Expat says women are man's best friend. Depends. Again, it can be your worst nightmare in some instances, you know? If you find the right one, then yeah. But maybe if you go to a different country like Southeast Asia, I've heard they can be quite good over there, actually. But I've heard a lot of the Western modernized women who've become kind of, but also modern men have become toxic as well. But yeah, just the Western people, a lot of them have become very shallow, very fickle, and just lacking in principles. I think, now this is where some people might argue that it's because of a lack of religion, because maybe you could argue that one good thing about religion is that it's giving people a sense of moral compass or something that they have to, just like do good because of religion or something. But oh, Jay Young, how you doing? But I don't agree with people pushing their religion onto people. That's where I draw the line. It's like you get people just shouting it out in town centres and it just puts a bad taste in people's mouth, really, I think. If anything, I would argue that it probably turns more people off from it than actually puts people onto it. Hello, Logan, how you doing? Hope you're well. Anyway. So, good you. I'm okay, thank you. It's been getting into like debates and stuff, What it won't give you a choice about what? Oh, really? That's yeah. Anyway, that pigs, they're I've seen like we've dropped in subs apparently. We was on 4.72, now we're on 4.71. What's going on? Someone must have unsubbed us on that. I don't know. Captain Blackbird, how you doing? Expat says I won't eat pork. So I don't know. It's like I know in like Islam they don't believe in eating pork or something, because it's like, let's see why is it that why. And I think is it Judaism as well, same thing. So it says it's classified as najas, meaning it is inherently unclean and defiling. Consuming pork would compromise a Muslim state of purity, making them unfit for certain religious activities. However, in exceptional circumstances, such as excessive hunger or starvation, Muslims are permitted to eat pork. So that's where they would be able to do it in starvation. But other than that, they're not allowed to, apparently. Anyway, hope everyone's well. Share the live out if you can. That would be really appreciated. Yeah. Everyone okay? Say hello if you're still there. Okay. Well, correction, they can eat pork in a survival scenario. Yeah. That's what it says, but other than that, they're not allowed to, apparently. But it's apparently just because they're unclean, not anything to do with anything about any kind of moral thing. Anyway, thank you for the 27 likes. About healthy, yes, safety and health, right? That's why they do that, apparently. Hope you're all well tonight, everybody. Hit that like button. Thank you for the 29 likes. Jamie, hello, Jay. You okay? Welcome back. Yeah, it says 29 on my end now, so trying to hit 30. Okay, you keep saying Jamie. Can you just stop spamming, please? What do you mean the pipes? The pipes are calling. What do you mean? Right, I'm gonna have to get rid of this spam. Dear me. Deary me. Anyway. I'm from the song Danny Boy. Oh, it's from the song Danny Boy. Danny Boy, Danny Boy. That song, I get knocked down, but I get up again. You're never gonna keep me down. I get knocked down, but I get up again. You're never gonna keep me down. You heard about that one? Or is that a different song you're talking about? Close enough. Huh. Hello, Abu. How you doing? Hope you're well. So just talking about like why Muslim people don't eat pork. And it's nothing to do with a spiritual thing. It's something about, well, as in it's to do with believed. It's called najas, meaning it's inherently unclean or something. I'm well. How are you? I'm okay. Thank you. Thank you for stopping by. If anyone's new here, hit that subscribe button. Like I said, I'm live every day, so trying to just stay consistent with it and grow my channel. So it's all about just gotta keep at it, you know, keep putting in the time. But it is spiritual in a way that God tells them not to do it. But I suspect it's for health and safety reasons. Yeah, but like, yeah, because I don't believe in the whole kind of God aspect of it. I mean, maybe there's certain kind of like bits of truth in these texts where there's certain principles or like morals or just kind of like a instruction or something. Because I remember there was this thing about the Bible, right? I remember, has anyone ever heard this thing? Because it reminded me of that thing where it's like, the Bible stands for basic instructions before leaving Earth. Has anyone heard that before? Yeah. Yeah, sure, guidelines to keep yourself safe from harm, right? Yeah. It's just if you can take out all the religious connotations of it all, then maybe there's something good that you can get from some of these texts. Why did Noah carry pigs on the ark then? Well, Noah's well, that's not to do with Judaism or Islam, right? So why wouldn't Noah then? They don't believe in the same kind of thing about. Anyway, yeah, most def. I mean, nothing wrong with helping the poor. Yeah, yeah. Well, that's it, you know. If it tells you to do these things, then it's like, then yeah, it's good that it's telling you that. Bible said no pork too, did it? But yeah, Christians eat pork, right? Is pork banned in Christianity? No, it has to do with Islam, my friend. We Muslims believe Noah was sent by God to guide his people. That's in your religion. So it says it's not generally banned in Christianity, as most denominations believe New Testament teachings allow for its consumption, considering all food is clean, while pork was forbidden under Old Testament Mosaic law. Christians believe Jesus and subsequent revelations, such as Peter's vision, lifted those dietary restrictions. Is it because in old times it was harder to clean things? Is that why? Is that why in the Old Testament it was different? Maybe that it was a lot harder to make sure everything's clean. I guess I don't know. If you can't, that's all right. We can have pigs. We just can't eat them. Yeah, yeah. Well, having pigs isn't the same thing as eating them, right? Moses' law says no pork, but the Jesus laws made by Paul said it's allowed. Yeah, so there's a lot of contradictions, but I would just see like the New Testament as like a sort of more updated thing where it's based on, you know, more up to date kind of technologies and things like that that can, or just advancements in humanity that something could have been banned before, but then under certain contexts it could be allowed. If you get me. Drop shipping. I don't really know much about drop shipping. Hello, on brand manage. No, I'm okay, thank you. Yeah, I don't know anything about drop shipping. I don't do drop shipping. But yeah, thank you all for joining me today. It's been good to hang out with you all. Any plans for the weekend? Not really. Just more live streaming, more random chats. Hello, Joel Stonker. Oh, goodness. Anonymous says, hey, how's it going? Not too bad, thank you. How are you doing? Hope all is well with you. Stay safe, Jamie. Thank you. Are you off now? Okay, take care. Let's have a look and see what the poll looks like now. Yeah. Smelly service, what you mean? Okay. No, I've not. No. So 54% says good, 13% says bad, and 2% says neutral. Am I single? Yeah, why? No, I'm not an Arsenal fan. I don't watch football. Nah, I'm not a football fan. So we'll be getting off for a while, I think, but yeah. Eagles or Chiefs, I don't know. Don't watch any of that. We lost the match against Germany. Oh, really? Oh, well. Never mind. Better luck next time. No, I don't watch football now. Shock. Unknown says, I don't have any children now. Don't have any children. Football team Kansas or Kansas. Kansas. Abu says I don't watch football too. All right. But is football haram? Really? Is that true? It says it's not inherently haram as physical fitness is encouraged, but it becomes impermissible if it involves gambling, neglecting players, promotes un-Islamic behavior like immodest dress, uncovering the aura, navel to knee, or becomes an excessive addiction, with scholars debating issues like professional play and fan culture, playing for health or training is good, but professional aspects, prize money, and fan behavior must align with Sharia. Within Sharia, if players cover their aura navel to knee and it doesn't distract from religious duties like prayer, it's generally acceptable. Try playing chess. Why? I play chess. My dad is world champion chess player. And I'm a world champion kickboxer. Me and my dad are world champions. We are top Gs. I converted to Islam. Okay, the shields. Okay. Which one is it? I'm either Jewish or I'm like Eastern European or something, because a lot of people ask me if I'm Jewish, a lot of people ask me if I'm from Russia or something, or Ukraine, or Albania, or Serbia. Oh, goodness. Here we go. Abu says, I had good set impression. Oh, yeah. I've got the sunglasses to do it as well, so I could take those out. Yeah, I'll show you my mouth art as well before I go, if anyone's not already seen it. I work 25 hours a day, 8 days a week. If you ain't working that hard, you're a beta male. Andrew Tate talking to Kermit. Oh, really? Is that what you're saying I sound like? I look like Tom Cruise. Oh, really? I don't think I look like Tom Cruise. Oh, you're there, One Dark Rep. How you doing? You okay? No, I've not seen any of those. Hello, Guitar Boy. I'm going to try and go to the gym later, One Dark Rep. I'm just wondering, because I might do it on TikTok, because I can't really do it on YouTube because of all the background noise and stuff. I don't want to get into trouble with YouTube and stuff, but I could put it on TikTok where I can get away with any copyright music if there's any of that. Hello, Ali Brahim, how you doing? So yeah, if you want to watch me on there later, I might do it there. Yeah, I'm alright, thanks. Yeah, how are you doing? Yeah. Is everyone okay? Thank you all for joining me. Hi Arthur, how you doing? Welcome in. Hi Fastbook. Right, if anyone's new here, hit that subscribe button. So yeah. Might be getting off pretty soon, but yeah. Anything else you want to say? What time are we on? Yeah. Hi, Rotund Seastone. Yes, I'm an Englishman. I'm an Englishman. Yeah, whatever. It's, they're just trolls and just. That's what it is. Okay. I'm a very good guy, a very tremendous guy. Hello, Fathima. How you doing? Hello, Straight. Okay. Okay, I'm just getting rid of these Diddy things, it's just, what is going on? Why do they do that, I wish I could zap these shows into timeout. Yeah, I can do it. Huh. Yeah. I've been trying to do like pull-ups and stuff, but yeah, I seem to be a bit of a sticking point a little bit, really. I don't know. I'm getting a bit better, but it's like my stamina a little bit, but my max reps have not gone up for a while. Like they've not gone up for like a few weeks, I would say, on the actual like regular pull-ups. It's just been, yeah, kind of just sticking it around because I can't do more than 4 reps. I did 3 yesterday, and then I did 4 later, but it just seems to be a sticking point. Yeah, it's just that like with pull-ups, I don't know, trying to see it, try and go as much as I can, but then I don't know, like, I mean, it's like, if you've got any tip on that to get more reps or something, but I've been kind of like, stuck at the same number for a while, but it is what it is. I'll see how I like get on and stuff. What's the tips then? Catherine O'Hara just died. Who's that? Mom from Kevin in Home Alone. Oh, that's shit, that, because I saw one of them at Christmas. Oh, shit. That's not good. There's always people passing away way before the times, isn't it? It's just... What college did I went to? I mean, I went to a couple of colleges, actually. Went to 2 different colleges. Yeah. What's this? I don't know, like what, I mean, just put it in, I just said, if you have any sort of tips to like improve it, because for some reason I don't know, it seemed like I was making some progress for a while, but just seems like I know, like Yogi were talking about the whole greasing the groove thing, which I have been doing, where I'll just kind of do like sub-maximal stuff, where I'll just kind of try to just get a few reps out. I think, in a session I can probably do about like total of about 12 to 15 reps, something like that. Maybe a little bit more if I just recover a bit more, but like usually I can only do 3 to 4 reps in a single set. But I've tried different things like slow negatives and stuff, and I don't know, like, why don't you want to tell everyone? Is it some secret or something? It sounds a bit sort of dodgy or something. Well, you have me on TikTok, don't you? Hello, Sandri. How are you doing? Can you ride a motorcycle? No, I can't. I can ride a bicycle, but not a motorcycle. I like your jacket. Oh, thank you. Trump forgot the name of country where Melania is from in her documentary. Well, it's not for everyone to know. Oh, really? That sounds a bit like, I don't know, gatekeeping. Is this like something that can get like you more reps and I don't know. Sandy says, you know the legend Jamie Brown, the singer. Oh, that's James Brown. Just wondering why you don't want to tell everybody about it. Left or right wing? I would say that I don't really identify with left and right wing. Like I said before, I could probably take parts from both. Anyway. Wide crack says bottom set. Surya says Optimus Prime again. All right. But I do want to try and get better with the pull-ups because at some point I want to be able to unlock archer pull-ups as well, more advanced ones. I want to be able to do commando pull-ups and other, more advanced variations. Oh, what's the other one? Geronda pull-up. I want to properly be able to do that, like chest to bar and high pull-ups and things like that. I want to get onto more advanced stuff, but yeah, it feels like I've slowed down. It's normal to slow down with progress over time, but it seemed like I was going pretty fast, and then the pull-ups have just kind of, the number one. I mean, maybe it's something to do with grip or something, or I mean, my grip's gotten decent. Like I actually did about a 15-second one-arm dead hang, so I can like hold my body on one arm. And at least if I'm fully recovered anyway, I can do one-arm dead hangs, which I don't think most people could probably even do that, especially at my body weight anyway. Hello, Abe Bat. How you doing? Mick says, share some wisdom to get a girl. Well, I would say like, stop trying is what I would say, really. Be unapologetically you. Just stop trying to impress other people. You should focus on your purpose, and whoever you're meant to be with will come along, and you just have to not really worry too much about that, I would say. Hang on. I've gone from hitting 120 kg for 2 reps to now 9 reps within 3 weeks. I was stuck on 80 for my max for a long time. What I know seems to work. Just want to share it to you. Okay. So is this on, what is that on, bench press or which exercise? Yeah, because I feel like maybe there's something I'm missing because, I feel like I'm strong, but at the same time, like it could be a lack of proper technique in some cases that has been holding me back. Where if you don't focus on proper technique, then you can be held back and you can be leaking energy, they call it, where, for example, on a pull-up, if you're doing things that make you more unstable, then you can end up leaking a lot of energy. So I've noticed sometimes when I'm doing pull-ups, my body's kind of not really, there's probably some energy leakage going on, I'm guessing. But yeah, it's just trying to like translate that muscle into actual like brute strength and try and it's a lot of it's mind muscle connection, I think, and that's what I've been. I'm about roughly 16 stone. So yeah, so I weigh an awful lot really for like even my height. Like I mean, I'm probably more than a stone heavier than the average guy of my height, and that is all lean mass. So yeah, so I've probably got about roughly probably more than 15 pounds of lean mass on top of the average guy of my height. So I'm definitely not weak. It's just oftentimes I've done things with bad technique that's led to probably improper results, and sometimes it's just yeah. But I'm kind of at a point where it's like, okay, I want to try and see where I can go with like things, and I feel like things don't sometimes add up. It's like, how is it that some guy who looks pretty weak can like bench press so heavy or something? How is it a guy smaller than me can bench 150 kilograms, for example? Like, which means it's not always just about how much muscles that you've got, but it's about the quality of them, like the quality over quantity sort of thing. Like you got skinny guys who can rep out, 20 pull-ups or something. All right, John. Yeah. That my 4 was the most, but like probably 3 with good form. But yeah, but I suppose like that is a lot of. But you were saying that you had some tips that could even boost that. But if I lost about 10-15 pounds of body weight, that would probably bump that up a bit. Like I could probably get to about 6-7 reps just by losing a few pounds of weight because of the strength to body weight ratio. So that's something I need to try and focus on as well. But right now I'm just trying to gain strength and just keep on, because my body weight is the kind of gym in a sense. It's like by increasing body weight, I'm actually increasing the load. So then when I do lose weight, I can just it'll just feel so much lighter. What you're saying, Sunday? But yeah, I did like 3 wide pull-ups with like, is that the video that you saw where I did 3 with a wider grip? But some people say that if they get quite good with pull-ups, they might actually be able to rep out more wide pull-ups than with regular grip. Because with regular grip, yeah, you're using more arms, but the range of motion is like nearly twice as much. Because if you go, the wider you go, like the less range of motion. I'll just show you what I mean. So this is wide, like this. This is how much range of motion you've got. Whereas if I'm doing that, look how much more range of motion I've got to do this way. So you're going like this, it's not as much range of motion. So they were saying how a lot of the people who are like good at like high rep, let's say they do as many pull-ups as they can in a minute, they might actually be better using a wide grip. Even though for beginners, you're better off probably doing more of a neutral, like kind of grip at like shoulder, just about shoulder or just wider than shoulder grip, which is usually around this sort of grip for me. So just wider than shoulders. So yeah. Hi, your Kush. But someone was telling me at the gym that I should go wider, going out to this kind of. So what you would do is you would put your arms out like this. Like you would, instead of going like this, you go like this, and then kind of in that sort of position, then you would kind of go like that. So that's how wide they were saying is the optimal. If you go too wide, that actually puts a lot of stress on the back, as in not in a, as in like it would be a lot more difficult. There seems to be a sweet spot in terms of like grip width, in terms of leverages for rep ranges and things like that. If you go too narrow as well, that can be an issue, and you can end up like, that could, I guess, restrict you in some ways. I find very narrow grip is can be a bit of a challenge. I mean, chin-ups, I would say chin-ups roughly around kind of shoulder width apart, probably best. Only when everyone hits you, you know what love is. Okay. You have shoulder injury. Okay. How come? Oh, impingement. Oh yeah, I was talking about this about internal rotation or something. Hello, Lar. How you doing? About like basically doing a lot of internal rotation and not balancing it with external rotation. That could potentially lead to let's have a look. Yeah, just to make sure I'm. Yeah, let's see if there's any research on this. Yeah, so one dark rep, are you still there? Average American guy, I'm British, if that's what you mean. So shoulder impingement occurs when the rotator cuff, often the supraspinatus, infraspinatus, gets trapped between the humeral head and glenoid, usually during exercise. Usually during extreme abduction and external rotation, often due to restricted internal rotation and posterior capsule tightness. It causes posterior shoulder pain, commonly seen in overhead athletes. So, are you playing Xbox? So, what would you say? So, I thought internal rotation was what caused shoulder impingements or something. It says here about usually during extreme abduction and external rotation. Is it because like when you're doing a lot of internal rotation, you're not working the external rotation? If like you're not balancing it with I'm not an orthopedic doctor. I'm just looking at into like to think things like internal and external rotation and the effects on things like shoulder impingements and stuff. But they're saying that if you're too, so it says here, physical therapy focusing on posterior capsule stretching and rotator cuff strengthening is generally effective. So the rotator cuff is like when you're doing like, so you're doing face pulls where you kind of like doing it with like, so what you would do is imagine you've got like a attachment or like some rings or something, and what you would do is you were pulling it towards your face. Instead of doing it like this, you're going to then rotate it like that. So you're fully engaging the muscles. You're getting the rotator cuff muscles activated. Some people do it with bands where they go like that. So that can be done as well, where they do external rotation with bands. So I guess it's just that people don't strengthen those muscles, and then where there's weaknesses, where there's imbalances, that's where they can become vulnerable to that, I guess. Extreme abduction. Well, I would think of abduction as like you're moving something away, like it's like say you're moving it apart. I mean, it's like think of shoulder abduction. You are moving your shoulder away from your body. Hip abduction, you are moving it away. You are moving it to the side, sort of thing. Is how I'd explain it. So there's abduction, there's adduction as well. So Jerry, I started doing what's that millet press behind neck. It's if you get good at it, wow, it's amazing. I tried in about military press. Is that what you're talking about? There's but yeah, there's behind the neck press. It's a lot harder than regular overhead press, but is that said to be good for strengthening the rotator cuff? Because it's like you're getting more kind of like that sort of. Some people say it like behind the neck pull up, but I can't do that yet. It's hard. That's something else I want to try and unlock is the behind the neck pull up, because that also I think works similar muscles in the upper back. Those to get that rotator cuff, that the in that kind of I guess in an isometric kind of position. Yeah, you could feel all the heads. Yeah, it's like you're going to get a lot of rear delts, upper trap, well, rear traps, rhomboids, stuff like that. But yeah, like I said, the face pulls they hit those as well. But but you could say that behind the neck press might be good for overall muscle, overall shoulder development. There's also a press. I don't know if you've heard it. It's called the Scott press. It's a bit like an Arnold press, but it's what you do. You're kind of going from this position and kind of going like that. So you're just doing like it's a small range of motion, but you kind of just you usually use quite light weights, but you're going from this kind of position and kind of just doing like that kind of thing, and you're just kind of working all of the heads of the muscles because you're getting some abduction as well as some overhead. So you're getting overhead as well as abduction, as also you're going to get some rear like delts as well, like you would with rear delt flies and things. So it's like a way of getting it all in one exercise, basically. So Tensu Fashu, what you're saying, I don't know what you mean, chicken banana. What's your opinion on going up and down the stairs with a couple of 15-kilogram dumbbells? That's my standard workout. Really? That sounds a bit of a goofy workout, but I see what you're saying, my man. Yeah, you're on about the just using like quite, sort of like low kind of so sometimes there's like the obsession with like full range of motion, but I think there is a time and a place for that. I think you should probably try to train for like mobility reasons and stuff like that. Yeah, but that's the Scott press. Apparently, I'm guessing. Who is it called that did that one? Is it? Um, yeah, it must be. I think it was a bodybuilder, but yeah. But it's similar to, I think it's a bit similar to the Arnold. Well, the Arnold press is where you're going like that, isn't it? Where you're kind of doing like where you twist it around like that. So you're going like, but some say that there's no point to an Arnold press, but it's just, you just do whatever you feel like is right for you and what is intuitive to you, I would say. And just like, if you feel that that works for you, because some people say as well that different things work slightly different for different people, like depending on where your insertions are and things like that. And like, if you find that that works your shoulders better, then who's to say that that's wrong for you? This is why I wouldn't like a kind of, if people were to say, oh, you should do this exact set of exercises. Like some people say that they feel squats in their hamstrings, for example, where some people say they don't feel it there. Like there's people who feel certain exercises in different muscles depending on their anatomy. So Stuart, oh yeah, here we go. How you doing? Hey Joe, check what they say. Arnold said he made that a joke. We're on about the Arnold press, but it's I remember when he said that the pump is as satisfying as coming. That's quite a funny thing to say, isn't it? The pump is as satisfying as coming is. Yeah. What was that? What you want me to check? Was it about the Arnold press? I don't know. What we're saying. Let's have a look. Like saying Arnold press is a joke. Yeah, but apparently he did do the Arnold press. It says. So did Arnold actually do the Arnold press? Yes, Arnold Schwarzenegger did do Arnold presses. Yeah. Bro is so into him. Oh yeah. Bro, there are others in chat too, not just one person. What do you mean? Well, what are you talking about? You exactly know when and how much is the right time and amount of exercise. Yeah, you just listen to your body. I'd argue that a lot of times these science-based bullshit things are actually probably going to make things worse for people, because if people just kind of listen to one study and some kind of, and it's like, oh, this says such a thing is best, but maybe you respond differently to different exercises. But I don't know, it's just, but I would argue that you shouldn't really be trying to focus only on building muscle anyway. And there are certain exercises I've done, like Cossack squats, for example. You might argue that they're not the best for building muscle, but I do think they're important to add in as a mobility exercise. I've actually unlocked the full mobility with them now, and kind of, yeah, it's good to unlock that and unlock that movement, because it's, yeah, if you don't use it, you lose it, right? So you want to be trying to get more flexible and more mobile, not just, because the thing is, there was somebody who was saying this, that I can't remember what channel it was. I think it was whatever it was saying how a lot of these bodybuilders, they have show muscles, but they're all show and no go. So I don't think we should get too bogged down by exercises, but but if there is a lagging muscle, then it might be that you was not training it right, and you need to just kind of adapt. But yeah, but for the most part, if you're a beginner, you probably don't need to worry about any of that anyway. People get hyper focused on details, science-based lifting, when they're not even past the beginner stage. So like, do you really need to worry about that? There seems like a lot of excuses just to go light and just not really work out that hard. Oh, well, I've got to focus on the optimal stretch on every exercise, and they're more focused on that than actually going hard. I think that's where the problem is. Hello, Gene. I've seen bean, was it lean beef patty? Yeah. Lateral tear is the main thing, dude. Forget rotator cuff. Lateral tear. What do you mean? An orthopedic doctor. So lateral tear. Are you on about the lateral delts? Or are you on about the what is it? Lateral tear. Let's have a look. Oh, that's what is it? Hip. To do with your hips, apparently. So that's soft tissue injury causing pain, stiffness, and instability in the joint. So yeah, so nowhere near the shoulders. Hope everyone's well tonight. Yeah. It's both in a hip and shoulder. So what would you do as a way to prevent such a thing if you're saying that you are an orthopedic doctor? Is that some, yeah, certain exercises to prevent that, I guess? My right shoulder is shot, so I have to have excuse for not doing anything. No. It's like, okay, well, if you should probably still do something that gets you active, though. Like, can you not do cycling, for example, where you're not really putting a lot of stress on that, maybe something like that? Hello, Vasto Lord, how you doing? If anyone's new here, hit that subscribe button. Bro, do you know stuff? It's there in should there? What you mean? Yeah, I'm from the UK, yeah. So it says here about, it's called a hip labral tear. So why is it showing it in the knee then on this image? A lateral meniscus tear. That looks like it's around the knees or something. So what they're talking about, it said it's a hip thing. Lateral tear in shoulder. That's just what it come up with on the search. So let's see. What is this? Damage to the fibrocartilage ring that deepens the shoulder socket, often causing pain, instability, and clicking, locking sensation. Caused by trauma, falls, dislocations, or repetitive overhead activity. Common types include slap top and Bancourt bottom tears. Diagnosis usually involves MRI with treatment, typically starting with physiotherapy, NSAIDs, or injections and surgery, arthroscopy, and for persistent cases. So it said doing too much overhead pressing, could that be a bad thing for that? It's saying, because it says something about caused by trauma, falls, dislocations, or repetitive overhead activity. Scouser, no motherfucking Scouser, mate. So it says about often cause pain during overhead presses due to instability or impingement, require modification or temporary avoidance of the exercise. Yeah, it sounds like a surgery, yeah. I mean, I don't really know. I'm not like somebody who's really like that into like kind of physiotherapy and stuff like that. I'm not somebody that all I can do is talk about exercises and things like in terms of like the mechanics of exercises and things like that, but I'm not really an expert on things like injuries and stuff. I was just talking about impingements and things like rotator cuff and all that, and how I hear a lot of people talk about strengthening the rotator cuff. So yeah. So like yeah, so it says that you might have to be careful about doing too much overhead press or something. Does that mean? Hello, Bailey Banks. What's 1738? Is that the time? No, it's 1914. Yeah, anyway. Everybody okay? I'm going to be getting off in a sec, guys, so yeah. So I'll see you all later. Yeah, peace out for now.